election night. Look, I'm getting a couple of calls from reporters and things. And let me just, I don't know how much you're going to care about this. You might not care about me. But let me talk about my city a little bit. The next elections that are up in 2025, my friend Curtis is thinking about running for mayor. I've run for mayor before, used to be a member of Congress, used to be a member of the city council. And, a lot of what's been going on around reflection about what comes next, the way I always unpack these things is, what does it mean for me and my neighbors? The city has always been the way that I looked at service. And, we are Democrats. Like, we stand up, as I said to the previous caller, we stand up for each other. We stand up for the other. We don't like to have people being victimized by bullies. That's part of being a Democrat, is we stand up to bullies. When there are others, we stand with them. And we believe that only by all of us getting together and all of us doing better, do any of us get ahead. But, New York City should be a shining laboratory for what we as Democrats believe. And for years, we had Republicans running this town. And I would always say, if we can't come up with solutions for this city and we can't show that they can work, we don't deserve to win. And I kind of think we're at one of those moments now. I love my city. This is a city that is proudly governed by Democrats. We pay the highest taxes in the world. And there are things about our city that seem to be intractable. It takes forever to build any civic infrastructure. We've got, I get on the M15 and M14 bus, I'd be surprised if half the people paid. We've got people in our communities, in our neighborhoods, emotionally disturbed people in real need, and they're on our streets, and we know who they are. I live in the East Village. We know the 3 or 4 or 5 people, but we cannot come up with policies to protect these people from themselves and also get them off the street. Maybe because of the law, maybe because of will, we haven't been able to do that. We, just because we're Democrats doesn't mean we like the idea that we go into Duane Reade, everything is locked up. We've illegal cannabis stores popping up everywhere, and then we finally figure out a way to maybe close them down after they never should have been opened in the first place, and now that seems to be up in the air. I can't walk with my son Jordan 5 minutes without, the smell of pot in the air, and as someone who has struggled with addiction, someone who lost his brother, I don't know if we are running headlong into these things because they seem like the right thing to do without thinking. We don't even seem to talk anymore about fixing our public schools. I went to public schools my whole life. My son is going to a private school. Enrollment is on the decline. We have the situation with migrants we seem to have papered over the idea that we're under a court order, the Callahan Decree, that requires us to spend billions of dollars on dealing with the homeless, and there has to be, whether they're migrants or not. There've got to be better ways to do this. We have people living in public housing. When I was in the city council years ago, it seems like nothing has been done there. Almost 500,000 people live in public housing. That's a city the size of Boston or something. And it's the citizens living in those houses, they don't believe that things are working for them. And people come to me, I originally started asking around in my neighborhood because I have an open city council seat in my district. Because of term limits. Carlina Rivera is leading in my district in the East Village and Grammar, whatever it is. And I had this idea of, I'm going to show Jordan, as he's learning more about me and my history, I'm going to show Jordan what service looks like. We're going to go work on a campaign. I've been asking around, and people have said, Anthony, why don't you run? I don't know, to be honest with you. There's all kinds of reasons not to, not the least of which the things in my past, the things about my addiction, the things about my acting out, the things about my background it's a lot. It's a lot. But we're at a moment that we Democrats, we seem like we come into knife fights carrying library books all the time. That we don't seem to understand that the values of our party, the values of our citizens, are that when we get knocked down, we get back up, but we get back up and we solve problems. We don't just say, and maybe if one of the messages that came through is that I being the voter, I need someone who feels like they're connecting with me and things are getting better. I don't know if things are getting better in our city. And maybe the city council is the place, that we should go to have problems solved. I don't know if that's happening either. I'm thinking about it. I'm wrestling with it. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I love doing this job on the radio. but I want to be of service. I think everyone should think that way. I know that I do. I'm like, 1,000 reasons I'm imperfect at all of this stuff, but I fundamentally believe in the idea that ideas work in common sense, figuring out ways to find ways forward. We have to show, if people want to be invested in us, we need to show that we're invested in them. And there are just too many problems that I feel are not being addressed in a serious way. We're Democrats. We solve problems. And if we can't solve problems, we don't deserve to win. If we don't understand this whole idea that progressives don't like crime either. Progressives don't like dirty streets either. I don't know where this idea came from. And so that's an unscripted, not sure where that leaves me. My email is Weiner, WABC.